Hallo mensen, welkom terug bij de Stanley Deluxe
You
ding.
know what, Stanley? I
Wat
say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're
wat
intelligent people,
de...
right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oké.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild.
We
Use
gaan
your imagination.
grondjes.
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also
Oké.
like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Ik ben maar aan het gaan, hè.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I
Oké.
need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh,
Huh?
hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Oké.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Wat?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
Okay.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was
ja.
once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
8, 4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, het took dagweek zijn. Huh? Oh ja, ze wel nu up willen. Daar kan ik. Oké. Oké. Het zijn...
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nee.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Wat is het? Oh nee. Kan ik...
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched
Ben
closer and
ik
closer
juist
to his demise,
gegaan?
he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Kan niet bewegen. Ik heb dat kan.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the
Huh?
narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly
Okay.
into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Huh? Huh? I'm back. Oh. Stanley!
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Office. Wat moet ik naartoe? Button sounds. Okay. Office computers. Hey, die is aan het kaarten. En die is weet niet. En die is... Ik weet het niet. Zijn dit al de mensen die dat gemaakt hebben? Ah ja, credits. Maar is dan al... Nee, eigenlijk dat te geloven. 40 en tot 40, Jezus. Voor zo'n... Huh? Huh? Ah, hallo stem. Ik maak een aanwijzing van wat me doet. Of... Ik dan niet. Stanley's office. Biecht we... Nou, dat is mijn office. Game design. Oké. Oké. Ik of two options vent. One option. Wat is dit voor game? Ik heb geen idee. Ik heb geen idee waar ik wil zijn eigenlijk.
Does that sound plausible to you? When Stanley came to the lift, he travelled upward to the power source at the top of the facility. Then he pushed this injustice forever.
Wat de...
Stanley jumped in the river.
What?
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room? Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you had even...
Wat de... Wat moet ik doen? Ah, nu ben ik hier terug. Oké. Wat moet ik doen? What do I have to do? Ah, hier.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it.
nee.
Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Okay, there was...
All of his co-workers were gone.
guy.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Wat nu als ik
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
dingen terug doe?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Wel,
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his
die
boss's office.
machine
Hoping he might come into a
opzetten
staircase,
was.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the city, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Come on back on loading screen. Ja.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Ja,
Mind Control Facility.
escape kan we niet meer doen.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
No.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ah.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
Nee,
As the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible... blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Deluxe, that's
Stanley
what
felt the
has
cool breeze
heter.
upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
Oh,
the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
beat the game. Wow, gebundte Gruppe. Get your first the trophy. What the? Oké, mensen. Dit was de aflevering. Bedankt voor het kijken. En tot de volgende keer maar weer. Doei!